Hash the golden gift. The restaurant hummed with quiet elegance. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light across white tablecloths, and the soft murmur of conversation filled the air like a gentle tide. At table 7, near the window overlooking the city lights, Marcus Thornwell sat alone. He checked his watch for the third time. 7:45. His blind date was 15 minutes late. Marcus was a man accustomed to precision. As CEO of Thornwell Industries, he ran his life like he ran his company, with cold efficiency and zero tolerance for delays. His dark suit was perfectly pressed, his hair meticulously styled. Everything about him spoke of control, of distance, of walls built high and thick. This dinner had been his mother's idea. "You need someone in your life, Marcus," she'd insisted. "Success means nothing if you're alone." He'd agreed only to silence her concerns, expecting nothing from the evening except another reminder that people disappointed you. He signaled the waiter. "Another 10 minutes, then clear the table." The waiter nodded sympathetically. Marcus returned his gaze to the window, watching his own reflection stare back at him. Cold, isolated, exactly how he preferred things. Across the restaurant, Emma Sullivan stood frozen in the doorway, her heart pounding against her ribs. She wore a pale green dress, borrowed from her roommate, and her blonde hair was pulled back simply. In one hand, she clutched a worn purse. In the other, a small package wrapped in brown paper. She'd spent her last $20 on the gift inside, money she could barely afford to spend. Emma worked 3 jobs to support herself and help her younger sister through college. Tonight was supposed to be her moment of gratitude, dinner with Mrs. Chen, the elderly woman who'd given Emma extra shifts at the cafe when she'd needed them most. Mrs. Chen had insisted on treating her to a nice meal, just this once. But now Emma stood paralyzed, scanning the sea of elegant tables. Mrs. Chen had said table 7. Emma spotted the number near the window and started forward, weaving between tables, her borrowed heels clicking nervously against the polished floor. She was so focused on not tripping, so worried about looking out of place in this expensive restaurant, that she never looked up at the person sitting there. "I'm so sorry I'm late," Emma said breathlessly, sliding into the chair across from the lone figure. "The bus broke down on 5th Avenue, and I had to walk 6 blocks, and..." She finally lifted her eyes. The man staring back at her was not Mrs. Chen. He was young, perhaps in his early 30s, with sharp features and eyes the color of storm clouds. Those eyes widened slightly at her arrival, then narrowed with cold assessment. This was clearly not someone who appreciated surprises. "I think you have the wrong table," Marcus said, his voice as crisp as winter frost. Emma's face flushed hot. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought, table 7, I didn't even look." She started to rise, mortified, but something in his expression stopped her. Beneath the ice, she glimpsed something unexpected. Loneliness. The same hollow ache she saw in her own mirror each morning. Marcus watched her hesitate. He should correct this immediately. Should call the waiter, have her redirected to wherever she was supposed to be. But something about her disarmed him, the genuine embarrassment in her eyes, the way she clutched that shabby little package like it contained something precious. "Your date stood you up too." The words came out before he could stop them. Emma blinked. "I wasn't. I mean, I was meeting someone, but not a date. Just a friend." "Well," Marcus heard himself say, "mine apparently decided I wasn't worth the trouble." Another long pause stretched between them. The restaurant continued its gentle symphony around them, clinking glasses, soft laughter, the whisper of fabric as waiters glided past. "I really should find my table," Emma said softly. "You could," Marcus agreed. "Or you could stay. I've already ordered wine. It seems wasteful to drink alone." He didn't know why he said it. He'd spent 5 years building walls, perfecting the art of solitude. Yet something about this accidental encounter felt like a crack in the foundation. Emma studied him carefully. She should leave, find Mrs. Chen, explain the embarrassing mistake. But this man, for all his expensive suit and cold demeanor, looked as tired as she felt. As lonely. Slowly, she sat back down. "I'm Emma," she said. "Marcus." The waiter appeared, confusion flickering across his professional features before Marcus waved him away. "The lady will be staying. Another glass, please." Over the next hour, something remarkable happened. Marcus Thornwell, the CEO who never smiled in board meetings, who'd built an empire on ruthless decisions and emotional distance, began to thaw. Emma talked about her sister, about working 3 jobs, about the small joys she found in helping others even when she had so little herself. She spoke simply, honestly, without pretension or agenda. She asked about his work, and actually listened when he answered, not with the calculated interest of someone seeking advantage, but with genuine curiosity. "It sounds lonely," she said when he described his typical day. "All that success, but no one to share it with." Marcus looked down at his wine glass. "I chose it this way. People are complicated, disappointing. People are human," Emma countered gently. "We make mistakes. Like me, sitting at the wrong table." He almost smiled. That was a fortunate mistake. As dinner progressed, Marcus found himself telling her things he'd never told anyone. About his father's impossible expectations. About building a company to prove his worth, only to discover that success felt empty. About how every relationship in his life had been transactional, calculated, cold. Emma listened, her eyes warm with understanding rather than pity. When the check came, Marcus reached for it immediately, but Emma placed her hand over his. "Let me contribute something," she said. "Please." "Emma, you said you worked 3 jobs. I can afford this." She smiled, sad but determined. "I know, but I want to give you something anyway. Not because I have to, but because I want to." She pushed the brown paper package across the table. "I brought this for my friend tonight, but I think you need it more." Marcus unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a simple journal, bound in soft leather, clearly secondhand but lovingly cared for. On the first page, Emma had written in delicate script, "For all the words we keep locked inside." Something shifted in Marcus's chest, something that felt dangerously close to warmth. "Emma, I can't." "Yes, you can," she said firmly. "Because that's what people do. They give to each other. Not because they expect something back, but because connection matters. Because we're not meant to go through life alone, building walls and calling it success." Marcus looked at her, this poor girl who'd stumbled into his evening by accident, who'd seen through his defenses with disconcerting ease. This stranger who suddenly didn't feel like a stranger at all. "Have dinner with me again," he said. Intentionally this time. Emma's smile could have lit the entire restaurant. "I'd like that." As they left together, Marcus carried the journal like it was made of gold. For the first time in years, the walls he'd built felt less like protection and more like prison. And for the first time in years, he wanted them to come down. Outside, the city lights sparkled like promises. Marcus offered Emma his arm, and she took it. Neither of them knew what would happen next, but for once, that uncertainty felt like hope instead of fear. Sometimes the best things in life arrive when we're not looking, when we sit at the wrong table and discover it was exactly where we needed to be all along.